as opposed to like, more of what we're talking, which is more of the cultural norms where you're just like, raising your voice or saying certain words. Like what we're talking about in terms of a code of conduct is much more broad than anti-bullying.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So I mean, you could argue, oh yeah, Alberto was kind of being a bully, but it's hard to like really specify exactly what did he say to be ridiculing. What exactly did he say that was slander? What did he say that was specifically hurtful to that person that creates an abusive relationship? I don't think that there's any clarity on that. You know what I mean?
And so line 21. So persistent singling out is what I have been doing wrong for sure. Shouting or raising voice at individual in public or in private, definitely what I did, Luisa and Mel. Not allowing the person to speak or express in favor of herself, right? Luisa, Mel, well, maybe Mel not really, but Luisa.
Time to pause. Please stop. Close your eyes. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
So, but it's important to understand what these examples are because, for example, all of us at some point or another interrupt. But because we interrupted does not mean we're a bully, right? So these are examples of things that could contribute to the evidence of bullying, but it doesn't mean that it is that the definition of being bullied. Does that make sense?
It makes sense here. I'm related to the already, like when I say not allowing the person to speak or express himself or herself. Luisa is here and she can confirm this is like I was interrupting by raising my voice, right? Not interrupting because it was pertinent to the. I wasn't even ignoring what she was trying to say, right, Luisa?
Um,
I was
yes,
just
there
yeah.
was, but more than interrupting me, it was more, I will say, inability to listen. So it wasn't like a bully. I didn't feel I was bullied. I was just feeling that you weren't able to listen.
Which refers to ignoring here. Here it says ignoring. Ignoring what your needs were to be listened at the time, right?
Mm-hmm. Well,
Right?
uh, it wasn't. I didn't feel ignored. I felt that there was a blockage, like something was blocking you from listening. You
Yeah,
didn't
because
say like a. Mm-hmm.
no, no, sorry, keep going.
Because it wasn't like you didn't acknowledge the fact that I was talking, but like you had something going on, like you had to follow your thought in that moment and just kept going and kept talking, and so you weren't able to listen. You weren't able to stop and listen or let me speak, or but I always say listening. Yeah.
Yeah, and the fact that I think that the pinnacle or the climax of the whole was when you specifically asked me to listen to you and I ignored it.
At
And
the
at
end,
the same,
no,
at one point you
you
said, "Can you listen
apologized.
to me?" And I
I
did. I
did.
apologize, but that's irrelevant, right? Because we're not childs here that do mistakes all the time and then they apologize, right? So what we're talking here was what happened. Why did they had to apologize, right? So, and the fact is that while I was assessing this with
Time for
Joyce,
breath. Please stop and get ready. Now inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. Pause. Inhale together. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. Relax.
I figured out that I was doing I did that also in the alpha session the day before, where Jay had to make the same exact request at one point. That, can you, Albert, please listen to me? And the difference is that I have the double standard, which is unacceptable, right? That with Jay, I stopped and listened. We went. Remember, Joyce? We went to listen to the recording.
Hmm.
And With you, it was bullying because you specifically made a very strong request. Please, you listen to me. It is very strong, and there was definitely bullying behavior because I did not. I ignored it, and I keep going in my rant.
Okay.
So one thing that's very important that defines bullying, which I want to make sure. I mean, I think it's important to have the anti-bullying policy and to have clarity on what we currently have, because I couldn't even find the non-discrimination policy, maybe because it's like so basic. But it's important to understand that bullying must involve repeated behaviors, right? So if there was a single session that there was a interaction and a contention, that does not define bullying, right? Bullying is someone's attitude repeated over and over and over again at many sessions at different times in different situations where they are obviously bullying a person or singling out a person over and over and over again. Because a single session is not enough to activate the anti-bullying policy. Does that make sense?
And 4
Like it
sessions,
has, what?
five sessions. I can say 5 sessions.
You bullied Luisa in 5 different sessions.
No, Luisa 1, Mel at least 2 where you were present, Jay, maybe even 3, and Mamoon. Definitely. Yeah. You were present.
I'm a moon, yes, but then I don't think you've ever bullied me, Alberto. If anything, maybe I bullied you, and so I don't, because you said I singled you out sometimes, but
Yeah,
repeatedly,
you definitely
but
bullied me as well.
okay,
That's
so
true.
I can admit to maybe bullying you several
In
times,
different
but I don't
ways.
think
Yeah.
I've never felt bullied by you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt
So
bullied
again, I mean, for me, it's very important to take bullying extremely seriously, right? People die over bullying. Bullying is
Time
not
to
something
pause.
like,
Please stop. Close your eyes. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
so again, we're talking about 3 very different things, right? 1, we're talking about discrimination, right? 2, we're talking about bullying, and 3, we're talking about, basically our conduct, right? So our conduct, we want professional, culturally appropriate conduct. Appropriate conduct, right? Which is very broad, and we're going to go over all the details there. Bullying is like repeated, attacks, and basically humiliation. Like people die over getting bullied, right? Discrimination is basically, doesn't even require talking, right? If you basically treat someone lower than you because of who they are, right? So discrimination is based on an actual identity, right? Does that make sense? So bullying requires repeated attacks and humiliation of a person. Typically, bullying requires some sort of both discrimination. Well, actually, bullying requires more intent than discrimination, right? Because you can be discriminatory and racist without really knowing it, whereas bullying really takes some intent that you intend to hurt that person by attacking them. You can't really bully on accident. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying. I mean, of course, bullying has many different layers, but I mean, I intentionally behave like a bully because I know that I can definitely raise my tone in a way that it's rarely that I have met somebody that can so I know that 99% of the time I can become a bully within a meeting because I can raise my tone to a level that is just the strongest, and I did it intentionally with Luisa. I did it intentionally in the alpha session. I did it intentionally
Okay.
with
So,
Mahmoud.
so let me make sure that this is very clear because this is extremely important. Okay?
Yeah.
And this, I think, applies to everything that you've been talking about, Alberto. Line 36. Bullying may be intentional or unintentional.
Time
right?
to stretch. Please stop, stand up, and stretch and move around for 30 seconds.
All right, quick stretch, and then I'll read this quote.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right, so bullying may be intentional or unintentional. So therefore, obviously, it doesn't have to be by intent, right? However, it must be noted that when an allegation of bullying is made, the intention of the alleged bully is irrelevant and will not be given consideration when handing out discipline, right? As in sexual harassment, it is the effect of the behavior on the individual that is important. In other words, if you as a bully insist that you're a bully and you have to take up the entire time, the entire organization and all 10 people on the call and everybody needs to stop everything because I'm a bully, that is irrelevant. That is literally what we're talking about. It's a masculine behavior of pushing your opinion on other people. Okay? Bullying is defined by the victim, not by the person who is doing the bullying. Right? Just like in sexual harassment is defined by the person who feels like they're getting harassed, not by the person doing the harassing. If the person who did the harassing says, "Oh, I didn't do harassing," does that mean there was no harassment that took place? Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
You do not need to know that you're harassing somebody. It is all about the person who's being harassed and the focus on them and making sure things are improving for them. So this is extremely important in almost everything that we're talking about with you, Alberto, is that sometimes you are very pushy on insisting things that you have an opinion about without just allowing the group and allowing people to be empowered and to collaboratively work together. So you can think you were bullied all you want, but if not a single other person is saying that you were bullying, it's really a waste of time. And under our policy, it says that it's irrelevant. We don't care that someone thinks they're a bully. That is simply irrelevant. You see what we're saying?
Yeah, so let's ask. Luisa, do you think that I am a bully?
No.
Okay. Mel?
Nope, not at all.
Okay.
No.
Joyce?
Time to pause. Please stop. Close your eyes. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
So Joyce, the question would be, do you feel that you were bullied by Alberto in one or more instances? Do you think that Alberto bullied?
Bully.
Last moment.
Bully. I feel that sometimes he's a bully because sometimes you come to a session and then you are in a good mood, and then all of a sudden he will say something like he will do some, you did something in a work, and then he will follow up with some questions that will make you feel not okay afterwards. So I think that's being bullied. That's being bullied. Like you feel, yeah, that's for me being bullied. Just a little bit, but not much.
Okay, so I mean, we can definitely go more into that for sure. But I think we would want a lot more clarification, and we would go into exactly what type of bullying, exactly what were the examples and evidence of bullying, because sometimes not being in a good mood and did something at work and asking certain questions and feeling you're bullied is just not very clear. So obviously we would have more questions and more follow-up through that. We can do that now if we want to, but I think it's very good that that we've identified at least one instance of someone feeling potentially bullied, right? So
And another one, like humiliation, right? That's
yeah,
bullying also.
yeah. So
Like not for me, like Mamoon. I feel Mamoon is always
but
humiliated.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
so
I feel like it's important to start with a personal relationship. Like, I don't want us to get in the situation of gossip and speaking for other people, right? So
mm-mm.
I know there's been contention between Alberto and Mamoon. We all know that, right? But I don't feel comfortable speaking on Mamoon's behalf.
No, but I was there in the session. That's why I know.
I know, but the question is, do you feel bullied? Right? We can talk to Mamoon about him feeling bullied, and we can understand
Mm-mm.
how Mamoon feels about it. But
Mm-mm.
that should be up to Mamoon. We can add Mamoon's name here
I
because
asked
under
him.
our policy, yeah, we can ask him on directly on Discord as well, right? So Mamoon, do you
Okay,
feel that you
I
feel
Time
did.
for
bullied?
breath. Please stop and get ready. Now inhale, 1, 2, 3, exhale, 1, 2, 3, pause. Inhale together, 1, 2, 3, exhale, relax.
I asked both Mamoon and Ate in the EVAL contentious team.
Great, 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 good, good, good. And then you can be sure to link the anti-bullying policy so that they can understand
Yes.
what that means. So Joyce, going back to you, what we're looking for from you is examples of repeated inappropriate behavior that make you feel like you were not being treated with dignity and respect, right? On either ethical, moral grounds or any other grounds, right? So that is what we want to hear from you. Examples of,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, I had it in the past, so I can, but I can recall later because I don't anymore recall now. But I can, and then I still feel the what he did before, but he's forgiven. Okay, I'm just saying that he's no, our relationship became okay now. I'm just saying that really he has this attitude that
Okay.
makes you
So, so
feel not okay sometimes, but he's trying to
absolutely,
be, to change. Yeah, I
yeah,
really recognize that, but I'm just saying now, but you know
yeah.
I'm not
So
emphasizing or
let me
yeah.
stop you, Joyce. Okay.
Mhm.
So the answer is yes, yes, yes. That all sounds very, very good. Two things. One, everything must be contained within the current contentious situation. So if you're going to go
Mhm.
back to some time way long ago before this particular contentious situation, for me, that's a problem because it should be addressed as a separate contentious situation. And if we didn't follow up properly with that particular situation and there's still things that are lingering from that, it should be addressed professionally and appropriately in that regard. Right. So when I ask, is there examples, it needs to be in the last month, basically. Otherwise, it just really does not applicable to this particular situation. If there are
Okay.
issues from previous situations that have not been addressed properly, I have no problem prioritizing and going into previous contentious situations, reviewing them, understanding the follow up and the next steps, and addressing them. But I don't want to mix all of the different contentious situations because that creates a lot of
Time
confusion.
to
And
pause. Please stop. Close your eyes. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
it can create a never-ending just cycle of
Yeah,
contention,
I
right?
understand.
If
No,
you don't,
no, no, I understand
um,
you.
yeah. And then secondly, um, Alberto, there's just no question that Alberto has, at times a masculine, very
Yeah.
pushy, personality. And, it's very weird because in our society encourages that type of behavior and that type of personality, and it actually rewards it, right? Our society is very masculine driven. Our society is very driven in rewarding of people who are willing to basically, pillage whoever they can to gain for themselves and gain for their families and do whatever. That's literally what is trained in our society. So,
which is what we want to transform.
which is what we're
Upside
trying
down.
to transform. Absolutely. So we're transforming this literally as we speak. We are evolving and transforming and working and co-creating together a new society. So, so we can't say that the dominant personality of our entire society is automatically bullying, right? It needs to be specific actions that are verifiable, right? And just to finish off here, the anti-bullying policy and bullying in general must be taken seriously. It can't be something like, oh, this person's a bully. Oh, they're going to get expelled. Oh, I feel like da 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 da, and therefore, all hell breaks loose and people need to be put in jail or whatever. Like bullying needs to have very specific allegations, very very specific, documented evidence and follow through, and it needs to be taken very seriously at the highest levels because people die from bullying. When we talk about a code of conduct, right? When we're talking about how you professionally and culturally communicate at the highest levels, nobody is dying when you break those policies, right? We're trying to create a very high standard of our professional code of conduct of how we want to move forward and work together as a team and work with the external community and the public. And if we break those policies, nobody should be dying. Okay? Whereas if you bully people, people will die. Literally die, dead, under the ground 6 feet. Right? Anti-discrimination, it depends on the situation. But what's really bad with anti-discrimination is if you discriminate someone based on who they are, they can't change that. Where you can change your behavior and your conduct, whereas you cannot change who you are.
Time to take a break. Please stop, write down whatever you were about to say, and take a break for 6 minutes.
Yes, Alberto.
Yeah, I mean, of course, bullying, we know that at the highest level people die, but so obviously to transform the world, you start by transforming what you can control, which is yourself. Like any change you want to see in the world, you start with yourself, right? So my point here is that when you say people die, is a very strong allegation, but also it's very strong. Roles die.
What dies?
Roles die.
What is it? What? Spell it. Roles.
Roles.
What
Because
does that mean?
yeah. Because I want to be an executive. I feel I can be a good executive. I feel that I deserve to be an executive, but at the current moment, the way that I'm behaving is definitely not executive material. And I don't care about the society. The society is totally wrong, right? Everything that I care is FQV and our environment, right? So in our environment, I have a very strong feeling that my role as executive, if something happens again, which I was almost doing again. Remember, Joyce, with you and Ate, immediately. I was already starting to do that again. Then you guys immediately stopped me. But something again, my role as executive would definitely die. I would step down because I am the first one that don't deserve to be an executive in FQB. Right? In the outer world, which is upside down, I would be maybe, as you said, encouraged to have this behavior, right? Which is totally. What are you talking about? Right?
Okay, so anyways, I think we need to take a break and move on, but basically what I'm trying to say is simply that if you want to step down from your executive role, you can do whatever you want. Nobody's forcing you to be an executive. You are able and empowered to step down at any time you want to. You can also step back up into the executive role anytime you want to as well, right? So you need to do what makes you feel comfortable. None of us think you should step down. If you choose to step down, even though none of us want to, you can still do that. You are fully empowered to do that. Nobody can force you to be an executive, period. Okay. But what I'm trying to say is that without specific examples of, instances of verified bullying on repeated instances within this contentious situation, I think sitting here talking about bullying for an hour is not giving justice to the level of bullying. Like, bullying is a really bad problem in our society, and if we want to support bullying and anti-bullying systems, defining something that's bullying when it's not bullying does not help the cause. Period. Right? And so I take it very seriously, and it is not allowing us to move forward with our code of conduct, because our code of conduct has nothing to do with Alberto. Our code of conduct has nothing to do with Mel. Our code of conduct has nothing to do with me. It has to do with the organization and the future generations who are going to be taking on these roles. It has nothing to do with that, right? So it's like, let's get focused on building an organization instead of thinking about ourselves.
No, I'm thinking about building the organization, right? So I'm thinking about the organization, what an executive in this organization, which has these very high standards, because it needs to have this high standard if it's want to be serious. So I'm thinking about the organization. I make myself an example that is unacceptable. So I understand everything you said, but I mean, if you want examples, I can get you recordings, right? We have recordings. So.
But again, I don't want that from you. Right? I want it from Joyce.
Yeah, I get it.
Hey, Luisa or Mel, or somebody who feels that they have been bullied, then I'll take it seriously. Like, it's not acceptable for you to be one incriminating yourself. It doesn't make sense. In fact, I think it's like, if you allow a bully to have the platform to be the primary one who defines their entire relationship to everyone else, is just like amplifying their power, right? It doesn't make any sense.
Correct.
Right? Like, someone has to empower the bully to have a megaphone to be basically accused, right? If no one wants to accuse the bully needs to shut up, right? Because no one wants to deal with that. Sometimes the best way to move forward with things is you just ignore the bad behavior, because as soon as you start focusing on it, you are now energizing it.
Right.
Okay? So what I'm saying is that we can sit here for hours and hours and hours and talk about Alberto bullying people and never focus on the code of conduct. I think they're very different topics. So if we think there's bullying, let's address the bullying. But again, I don't see any bullying going on. I haven't heard any specific instances or examples within this contentious situation. And I want to talk about our code of conduct, because I think of having a code of conduct is extremely important. And I think it's 100 times broader than bullying. I just don't see why we want to spend all the time talking about bullying when we're talking about the code of conduct. So unless there is some sort of bullying that needs to supersede our discussion of the code of conduct, I think we really need to move on.
Yes.
We'll move on.
All right. So
End of break. Time to start. Please get focused on the session.
Does anyone need to check out?
Yes.
Okay. Lisa, you want to check out before we take a break?
Yeah, thank you. I will do the type evaluation on the meeting notes.
We'll actually do a full checkout because it's the main session.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's maybe it's a 6 for me. I understand it was a contention session, so it's good to go through what Alberto feels, and of course I feel sorry that he feels that way, and I'll appreciate the support that has been provided in order to move forward, to explain things to him in a way that hopefully it's providing a little bit more context to what's going on between the team and him and his behaviors. And then hopefully, moving forward, we are all going to be better listeners. And that we, at the end of the day, we're all growing here. So, appreciate him being also, I will say vulnerable, but not fully. I would challenge Alberto to allow him, like, not to shame yourself, like not to feel like you're less than the standard that you're admiring to get to, but just accept you for whatever you are feeling right now, there are reasons why you behaved or you have been like this, and nobody's judging you. We're all here to support you to be better. That's all. Jack.
Yeah. If I can just say something to respond.
Sure.
Yeah. Because we have such high standards, that we need such high standards to accomplish what our mission, which is transforming society, right? I don't really care about anybody's opinion but mine, right? That's all that I care. So if because my opinion, I believe, is the opinion that even if Mamoun may say that he's not being bullied, I make an example, right? I ask him, maybe he says no. I know, and this is my opinion on myself, that I've been bullied, right? So the point is that I am vulnerable. Yeah, you can say vulnerable, but it's not being vulnerable, because my opinion is that I must become the standard needed.
Time to pause. Please stop. Close your eyes. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
For me to have the opinion of myself that I am a consciousness that I am confident to say that is supporting FTV and J as they are supposed to be supported. So that's maybe makes sense, doesn't make sense, but I'm not shaming myself, right? I know who I am, and I love myself. I like myself in general, but I know that, and also the only opinion that really matters to me is mine. I don't really care what other people think about me. I don't have time for I don't have time to I don't have time for time to waste, right? So their opinions, I cannot control them. Their opinion, what I can control is the opinion, my opinion myself. So even though in general I have an opinion that I am not sufficient at this point, and I want to be sufficient, and I know I can be sufficient. That's why I'm pushing this. But as Jay has said very well, and this is amazing, is yeah, we don't have time. We don't have time to waste time, for time to waste, right? We don't have time to waste time. So if nobody feels bullied, let's move forward. Let's not give the platform to the bully. That's perfect. Let's move forward. Thank you so much, Luisa.
Thank you, guys.
Julia,
Thank
so
you,
let's
Alberto.
go ahead and take, unless anyone else needs to check out, let's go ahead and
Take a big break.
take a break.